concern themselves with swapping the field round for the left-hander for the first time, and Everson stays over the wicket to bowl to him, and Wheel defends to Paterson White at mid-wicket, and there's no run.
See, one of the Welsh contingent has returned to get the bunting at the back of the William Clark stand. He's wrapping it up. In fact, is that one of the? Is that one of them? Or have a look. No, it's not. It's one of the Nottinghamshire ground staff. So they've left their bunting, whatever that says.
Everson bowls. Wheel plays defensively on the offside to conclude the over. 72 overs gone then. Glamorgan 248 for 7. The right for a first innings lead is probably slightly in the home side's favour. Glamorgan trail by 54 runs.
Yeah, it's going to be nip and tuck, isn't it, as to who's going to be ahead at the end of day 2 at the halfway stage of this game. That second new ball 8 overs away still. Another half an hour in which Glamorgan can press their claims. Sam North East 15 away from what would be a very special century for him. All that experience that might be a few nerves there as he approaches the landmark, being that it's a new county. Paterson bowls. Oh, he's bowled him! Dane Paterson sends the off stump tumbling out of the ground, and Sam North East can forget about getting a century on his old stomping ground with the off stump demolished by Dane Paterson. Absolutely beautiful delivery. That's what we saw time and time again from Dane Paterson last year, and it's taken a really special ball to dismiss a top-class player. That was a wonderful innings from Sam North East, and he can have no qualms whatsoever about getting an absolute Jaffa ball of the day from Dane Paterson. And North East goes, faced 162 balls and 8 fours, and that's a very generous round of applause from a Trent Bridge crowd that's enjoyed watching a high-quality batsman going about his work. 248 for 8, and well, one brings 2 yet again.
Indeed, it was an unfussy innings from North East, and Glamorgan supporters will be hoping that there is much more of that to come in the next 2 3/4 seasons. As Glamorgan now, though, have to just scramble these last couple of runs for the second batting bonus point. Hopes of a third one, and first innings advantage now look somewhat remote, if not completely impossible.
New man is Tim with 2 M's.
Tim with 2 M's, Van der Hochten.
Is it Timothy, or you've got the book there? What?
No, I think it's just Tim.
It's just Tim with 2 M's. M&M, 248 for 8. What a ball that was from Dane Paterson, who's now got 2 for 39.
Extra couple of miles an hour in that one, maybe? A little bit faster than...
it was a terrific delivery.
Stock delivery.
Terrific, really was. Apologies, Kirsty sent me a message whilst we were tweeting and talking about the wicket and whatever. Let me know and I'll play the replay. Well, I don't think our viewers can see that one. Well, our Nottinghamshire supporting viewers, I should throw in there, can see that often enough, Kirsty. So whenever you want to pop that dismissal in, we'd love to see it again. As Paterson comes in again and bowls to Van der Houten, who pushes this up to mid-on. My word. Did it time and time again last year. High percentage of his wickets were the off stump flying out of the ground. Whether it did come back a touch was going to take something special to dislodge Sam North East, and it was a terrific bit of bowling. First time he's bowled, of course, from the Radcliffe Road end. All his previous deliveries from the far end. Comes in, bowls to Van der Houten, who leaves this alone, and there's plenty of animation out there. The U's and the R's. He
is now on 114 runs from 3 innings for Glamorgan, which is fractionally better than the 112 from 3 innings he scored for Nottinghamshire last season.
No, I'm banging the drum repeatedly, but he is a fine player, Sam Northeast. As Dane Paterson bowls to Tim van der Houten. 248 for 8. If Kirsty's still with us and there is the opportunity to see the last wicket at the end of the over, we'll try and make sure we're watching the screen this time. 248 for 8. Great reception from the Nottinghamshire crowd as Paterson bowls again wide of the off peg. You sometimes think, why is he putting it out there? Why is he putting it out there? And then he'll jag one back and there'll be all sorts of explosions going on. Just wonder if, like yesterday, we'll get most of the damage done before the taking of the second near ball, if indeed it will be taken. There's still 2 wickets in hand. There's still the opportunity here for Glamorgan to get the 250 and then push on towards the not score.
Yeah, it's been something of an anticlimax, hasn't it, from 163 before the 3rd wicket fell.
The days following a similar pattern to yesterday. A nice looking drive, but hit straight at Hasiba Mead, who's very fortunate there that he didn't get one in the chops, because it just hit a ridge just before him and bobbed up. Well bowled, Dane Pato. 248 for 8. I'm watching the screen. And there is a replay. Yeah, it did come back through the gate, didn't it? And it was going to take something special. And you can see how delighted his teammates are at the fall of that wicket. And there's the captain going in to high five Dane Paterson. Ben Slater will have a bit of the action as well. And now a good round of applause for Dane Paterson.
Hey, he's got a funky little gif on the for the social media boys as Dane Paterson, as Joni Everson bowls, and Wheel pushes into the offside and says we'll have a single there. Because mid-off is fairly deep and it was wide of him anyway, so it's one of the 2 that Glamorgan need for the second point, which they didn't get against Durham, being dismissed for 234 in their first innings, but they have fallen away since just after lunch, when they're really well placed and looking at a first innings lead. And we were saying similar things yesterday when Nottinghamshire looked well placed to push on to 400. In the end, they only just got to 300.
2 wickets went down in the space of 4 balls there.
Everson to bowl to Van der Houten, who's squared up by that one. Thick edge down to Hamid.
I think I might have appealed there if he'd not got a bat down on that one. That looked to be very adjacent, but the bat came down and just saved him in time.
Very pleasant burst of evening sunshine then. Floods across Trent Bridge as in comes Everson. 3 for 49. Balls to Van der Houten, who flicks it on the leg side. Looked for the single. It wasn't quite there as Slater was in quickly. No run, so 2 slips. 3 saving the single on the offside, 2 on the leg, a 3rd man and a fine leg on the ropes on that shortish boundary on the 45 degrees way to our left. Beautiful vista in front of us as Everson bowls. Van der Houten defends again to Slater at mid-wicket, and again there is no run.
Mark Model Lang, Dave, I've got a theory that Notts would have won the county championship last year if they hadn't left Sam Northeast out against Hampshire. That's that's revisiting old wounds, that is, Mark, and you might have something in it. I think Notts needed to win the toss down there. Had they won the toss, then I agree with you, they'd have been in the box seat. Pig of a toss to lose.
As Van der Houten drives down the ground, and that will be the second batting bonus point for Glamorgan as they pick up a couple of runs, and the 250 is raised in the 74th over. The 200 was up in the 58th, so that's come at about 3 runs and over. But it's been accompanied by the clatter of wickets as well. 51 behind Glamorgan as Van der Hoogten blocks the next one from Everson. End of the over. Andy Tingy tweets, hope you're enjoying Nottingham. Recently relocated here and on the ground today. Trusts that my brother Peter's still going strong. All the best. Oh, thank you, Andy. Played with him many years ago. And my brother Peter's hung up his boots at the age of 70-something.
It's a good innings then.
Yeah. Plenty.
Which boots? Cricket boots?
Cricket boots.
Yeah.
Cricket boots. Still loves watching the game.
Kaz has been in touch, sent a photo. Good afternoon to you and the boys. All got something cold and refreshing in their hands, and saying, here's a toast for you boys. 251 for 8. Dane Paterson might be eyeing up more wickets. The left-handed James Wheel on strike and pushes this out. As far as James Paterson, it's a slightly awkward-looking stance that Wheel's got, but as we always say, it's whatever works for you, isn't it?
He's a tall man, and it's a stance suited to a big swing of the bat in the white ball stuff. He scored a very quick 70 odds in the pre-season game against Gloucestershire off 66 balls.
So he's in a bit of form. 251 for 8. Paterson bowls to him, and he's edged this down to the third man for 4. Went very quickly down to the third man fence in front of the pavilion. And Wheel is away with a boundary. Harry Brook of Yorkshire, fine young player, 90 not out in the match at Bristol, where Yorkshire have now got the lead. 279 for 5 they are. 255 for 8 here at Trent Bridge. With lots of cricket left, we're certainly going to be still playing here at 6:30, if not beyond, like we did last night. Clark and Duckett again, just slightly repositioning themselves as Paterson bowls. Oh, good delivery. Wow, it's a long old follow through as well from Dane Paterson. He almost went right the way down to shake hands with the batsman. Good delivery, plenty of bounce again.
Took off a bit, didn't it?
Yeah.
Head high through the keeper on that occasion.
I did say he would probably be 4 or 5 miles an hour away from the pace of James Paterson, but he's bowled reasonably quickly today. Looks in good rhythm. Not had a lot of cricket over the winter, and he's come back and settled into his groove here nicely. Dane Paterson bowls and worked away onto the leg side. Liam Patterson-White doing the fielding. The great Dane. Never had a Dane play for them in their whatever it was, 170 years of first-class cricket, and then last year they had 2, Dane Paterson and the young wicket-keeper Dane Schardendorf.
I thought you meant a gentleman of Danish extraction there. Ole Mortensen.
255 for 8. I suspect we're going to be doing a Radio Nottingham update with the football matches having finished at Mansfield Town, and behind us at Meadow Lane. 256 for 8. So Glamorgan are 46 behind. One ball left in the 75th. Here comes Paterson. Final ball of the 75th over. Bowls, and nicely defended by Van der Hoogten. who stays on 2 not out, end of the over. Paterson 20 overs 8 maidens, 2 for 44.
Stephen Moss offers his preferred Championship 11, which includes Joe Cook opening and Eddie Byram batting in the middle order, with Taylor and Wheel missing out, Salter dropping back down into the lower middle order. Beefed up batting and plenty of bowling still, he reckons.
So Notts aren't going to wait until the second near ball becomes due before unleashing James Paterson. They're 8 down after 75 overs and going to bring the Australian back. This time from the pavilion end. I'm sure that's the last thing that James Whale wanted to see when he looked up there.
Well, it's always an opportunity to use the pace of the ball, as they say.
Yes, very much so.
Maybe nick a few quick runs, deficit 46. Just 2 wickets in hand. Paterson then is in to Wheel. Bowls, and Wheel will get a single down to fine leg. 257 for 8. Wheel is on 7 not out. Van der Hoogten on strike. Only Michael Hogan to come.
There's an update for Radio Nottingham. Trent Bridge looking an absolute picture, but in terms of the score, this day following a very similar pattern to yesterday when Notts were 250 for 4 and ended up being bowled out for 302. Very similar. Glamorgan were in a strong position at 233 for 4, but Notts have fought back equally strongly. 3 wickets for Joey Everson either side of tee, but then the big one just gone down. Sam Northeast, you may remember he had a little spell with Notts the back end of last season, played a couple of games. He's batted beautifully today, really has. Made 85, but he's just been bowled by the ball of the day from Dane Paterson, just shaped back enough to go through the gate and knock him over. So Notts got 302. Possibility they may now get a first innings lead because Glamorgan's still 45 behind at 257 for 8.
As Paterson in the evening sunshine is into bowl to Van der Hoogten, who is beaten all ends up by a ball that swung around a bit, and I'm not quite sure which side of the stumps it passed, but it wasn't by a long distance, whatever it was. It was too good for the number turn.
Some take as well from Tom Moores. He went this way and that. Really good take.
Edward Cooper informs me that there are 19 people here with the Balconeers party, and Glamorgan travellers are here as well, plus quite a few independents, he says.
Yeah, we've seen the independents.
257 for 8 as Van der Hoogten faces up to Paterson and pulls over mid-wicket. A short-arm jab and 4 runs as Paterson dropped short, and Van der Hoogten is not always the most elegant of strikers, but has got plenty of muscle and swilled on it. Pulled it away, and again in response mid-wicket goes back to the ropes, as they did with Nisa shortly before, but Nisa was bowled straight away.
Saw a spirited last wicket partnership yesterday for Notts between the two Patos.
261 for 8. One of those Patos bowls to Van der Hoogten, who now has a simple single to push and run on the leg side thanks to mid-wicket exiting stage left. Van der Hoogten 7, Wheel 7, 262 for 8, 40 runs between the two sides.
Yeah, they've added 14 so far. I'm just making the comparison now because it was entertaining as Notts' last wicket pair eked out the necessary runs to get that third batting bonus point. It just seems as if this one could be a similarly frustrating partnership the way they've started.
Here comes Paterson again with the last ball of his 20th over to bowl to James Wheel. Short ball, he's pulled away. The shouts of catch it. It's dropping short of Hasib Hamid on the first bounce as he sprinted in from the fine leg boundary It's another single to James Whale, 263 for 8.
Make your own luck in life, don't you? And certainly in the game of cricket, and you can almost make a point for saying James Paterson has been dogged by bad luck ever since the second ball that he bowled. Now, whether that's bad luck or bad skills, and that he overstepped yesterday, but the second ball he bowled yesterday was a no ball which got a wicket, and he's he probably not had the rub of the green with some edges and some near misses throughout his bowling stint here. 20 overs, 1 maiden, 1 for 79. He did pick up the 1 wicket of Salter this morning, but he's been played relatively comfortably by the Glamorgan players most of the day as Dane Paterson continues. This is pushed back to the South African, and this is the 77th over. Of course, that's the next thing to look out for if they do stay together until the end of the 80th. You'd imagine that it might just be a different animal, Pattinson, if he's got that hard new cherry as well to bowl with. Yes, Paterson to Whale, drives handsomely through the offside for 4. That's a good looking shot. Any of the top order would have been very, very proud of that one. Lovely looking shot. 263 for it. I said I wouldn't give any football scores, and I'm not going to give a particular score, except that I've just seen that Scunthorpe United have, for the first time in their history, been relegated from the Football League. 72 years in the Football League. Not too far away. Often go up there, Glanford Park, and do matches. But it's a hard old business now. And if you end up down there, you'll like Notts County and Lincoln City and many more. You can just get sucked in, and then suddenly you find yourselves out of the Football League. And Scunthorpe will be in the non-league next year, as this one now worked away on the leg side by James Whale, who's enjoying himself, possibly still in front of his family. We saw what we presume were his family out there with him at lunchtime having a breath of fresh air. 268 for 8.
I'll rattle through the Welsh football scores if you don't want to hear them. Cover your ears for 20 seconds. Cardiff City were beaten 2-1 at Hull. Swansea City drew 1-1 with Barnsley in the Championship. Newport County were beaten 2-1 at home by Crawley in League 2. Wrexham drew 1-1 with Solihull in the Conference.
There's Dane Paterson bowling to Van der Houten. What about Llanfairpwll Gwynedd and all that stuff? How do you say that? How do you say that station?
Llanfair PG.
Ah.
I can't do the whole thing. If you want Welsh football results, Aberystwyth 6, Cefn Druids 0. Also wins at home, all home wins, none of the away sides scored. Caernarfon, Conisky, Nomads, Haverfordwest, the New Saints and Bala all won at home.
Dane Paterson to Van der Houten, drives to mid-off, and there's no run. Talking earlier off air, Nick does a lot of rugby union during the winter. Not something I've ever really either enjoyed or got in. I mean, back in the day I would watch the Five Nations as it was then, but never really been a rugby union fan. I think I've covered 2 or 3 games, been sent along to cover them over the last 30 years, but literally that's all. As another drive through the offside by Van der Houten for a single. 269 for an 8 to a complete rugby union idiot. Then the rugby union you do down there, obviously it must be a great thrill doing games in what was called the Millennium Stadium, now is the Principality Stadium, but amongst the other grounds that a lot of listeners won't have heard of, and I certainly won't have heard of. What are the features? Obviously, I've been to St Helens at Swansea, seen the cricket there.
Yeah, that's falling apart, and there's not
all these famous names that we've heard of in history that the All Blacks played there at Llanelli and all these others.
Well, Llanelli has changed, about 15 years ago when Stradey Park became a housing estate. It's now Parc y Scarlets on the other side of town.
Because Max Boyce used to sing about that, didn't he?
Oh, yes. As Rodney Parade in Newport, Cardiff Arms Park in Cardiff are still in their traditional locations, as Paterson is in to bowl and beats Van der Hoogten's defensive prod. And the Ospreys play at the Swansea.com stadium alongside Swansea City. Some of the traditional Welsh club grounds are still there, but hosting slightly lower profile matches in the semi-pro game these days.
No, I've never really got into the old into either code of rugby.
In comes Paterson and bowls, and Van der Hoogten blocks out on the offside, no run. 78th over this is. It is quite a complicated game to get into.
It just seems that health and safety's gone mad, understandably, because you know, you can have serious injuries. There's been many serious injuries over the years, but you know, when back in the day, the 70s and 80s, when you know, you used to see them really challenging line-outs. Everybody jumped for it, and you know, scrums and rucks and mauls and that were allowed just to continue, and you didn't have whistles, you didn't have mic'd-up referees teaching them or talking to them like schoolmasters.
Paterson is into bowl to Van der Hoogten, who plays to mid-on, no run. Well, rugby, when I started watching in the 70s, if you got on the wrong side of a ruck, being penalised was the least of your worries. You just got a shoeing, and if you had any sense, you didn't do it again. Otherwise, you'd have various parts of your body hanging off. Not saying that was a better time in any way, but as Paterson is in and bowls to Van der Hoogten, who turns into a gap on the leg side and wanders through for a single, 270 for 8. But I think since the advent of the reason for the increased danger in the modern game is since the advent of professionalism, mid-90s, players have more and more bulked up. They've been more and more replacements allowed, so you get fresh bodies running at tired bodies in the last 20 minutes or so, and the sheer force of the collisions, as opposed to in the days when people trained twice a week after work to play at the weekends.
Yeah, I'd forgot about the 9 subs coming on in the last 20 minutes. It's
8, it's too many.
It's a nonsense, isn't it? It's an absolute nonsense.
Paterson is into bowl to Wheel, who dabs it down on the offside, no run.
I mean, let's lift somebody up in the line out. And what's all that about? I don't know. Now, I'm too old in the tooth to be converted. The one thing I know about rugby union, the Pontypool front row was Windsor, Faulkner and Price. Is that right?
Yep. That's
crikey, there you are. There's the extent of my rugby union knowledge.
As celebrated in Max Boyce's records in the 70s.
Although I did literally bump into a former rugby union great a week ago.
Dusty hair in this part of the world?
No, because I wasn't in this part of the world. I was down at Hove, Sussex County
Rob
Cricket
Andrew.
Club. Yes, exactly.
Paterson into bowl to Wheel, who flicks it uppishly on the second bounce down to Hamid at fine leg. Takes a single. Yes, the Pontypool front row, the main version, I think, was Faulkner, Windsor, Price, although Staff Jones replaced Charlie Faulkner when he got too old to play. He was probably in his 40s when he retired. He never officially admitted his age, I don't think. Anyway, here at Trent Bridge, it's 271 for 8, and Glamorgan are 31 behind Nottinghamshire with 2 wickets in hand. I'm trying to work out when I'll be required next on radio airwaves. I suspect in a couple of minutes' time, although they might keep me waiting towards the end of the programme, so you might get a 15-minute blast of Dave now.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Nick. Now then, Brett Hutton's coming back on. Not's going to take this second new ball. Not yet, because it's not due. 78 overs have gone. And Brett Hutton, who picked up a couple of wickets during the day, 2 for 45, got rid of Monas Labuschagne, of course, and David Lloyd. So 2 of the big fish were dismissed by Brett Hutton. It's going to be bowling to Another big fish, James Wheel on strike, the left-hander. By and large, fairly defensive. 3 on the fence, a third man, a fine leg and a deep square leg. Down the leg side, this one from Brett Hutton to begin with. Remember, he started his last spell from this end with a big wide and then got it right on the money to dismiss David Lloyd. You're back!
Yeah, producer says another 5 minutes. So, see you through a few more deliveries, or keep you company anyway, as they're discussing today's Welsh football ills still at the moment.
How did Barry Town do? Here's Brett Hutton. No need to look. Next one's pushed. They'll take a single up to Mulaney at mid-off, and there's no one. Graham Smith says, for someone who admits to know very little about rugby, everything you said about the modern game was spot on. Thanks, Graham. No, I don't know.
Bury Town United went down 2-0 away to Haverfordwest County, since you ask.
Oh dear. Yeah, it's very much a layman's take, Graham. Don't necessarily believe too much I say about rugby, except I don't follow it. I don't know any of the people in the game. But of course, if the World Cup comes around, it's wall to wall on the TV, and you'll have a look, you'll have a watch. But it's just all the health and safety that is necessary. But I don't know, just takes away from the enjoyment of watching it. 272 for 8. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to next year's World Cup in France. I've got tickets for a few matches. I don't tend to be employed on the World Cup for some reason, despite doing the Six Nations. So I thought I'm not missing out on a World Cup relatively close. So bought myself tickets for a few games in France.
Is that in Paris or all over?
All
the place?
over.
Here's Brett Hutton coming into bowl to Van der Hooten, who's had a real old kitchen sinker at that one. Throws everything at it, gets nothing on it, and it goes through to Tom Moores. I've got a customer access number. I don't know if I'll use it for when the tickets become available for the Qatar World Cup. Right now, there's an open ballot phase or whatever. I don't know. I don't know if I could. I don't know if I can be bothered. is the truth. But then you have a look. I've never been to Qatar. Been to Abu Dhabi and Dubai and Bahrain, but this is pushed to mid-on, and I sort of had a little look, and one or two of these places that I obviously know nothing about. I mean, Doha's supposed to be a real modern city, a lovely place to go and visit and whatever, but then you think, there's going to be 10,000 England fans there on the streets. My experience of the darts in the Nottingham Arena 4 or 5 weeks ago was very much tinted my view at the moment of
just because you caught COVID, you can't
exactly of
blame that
of live sport as a spectator. Next ball is defended. 272 for 8. I do prefer it here in my little eyrie alongside you. 272 for 8.
At least you've only got one person to risk catching things from, and hopefully I won't be troubling you in the court. You're full of antibodies anyway.
Well,
I could cough all over you.
I'm still testing. I've been negative for about 4 weeks now, and I know you're the same.
I was negative last night, I can tell you that, as of about 8:30 p.m. 272 for 8. Wheel and Van der Hooten nudging along, but they only have 1 over to profit from the old ball before they get a brand new hard cherry being propelled at them. I think I'd better leave you to describe this over.
Yep. 272 for 8. It is. We've just seen 1 or 2 12th men on the field, just bringing out supplies, and we'll be ready in just a second. James Paterson it will be to bowl the 80th over. Notts would dearly love to get this done and dusted. Bang bang. Glamorgan would like to frustrate them for a good part of this session before having a little dart at Notts. They'd like to pick up at least one of the Slater-Hamid opening partnership and then go on and make further inroads, of course.
Hutton's doing a few exercises. He obviously fancies his chances of having ball in hand.
He's just bowled the
sorry,
he's back, but the new ball.
The new ball, I mean, in next over.
The way it turns out, he will bowl the first ball of it if they take it. 272 for 8. Paterson bowls to Wheel, who's looked absolutely at ease out there, hasn't he? It looks like a number 3 left-handed batsman pushing it into the offside, and there's no run. 30 is the difference between the two sides, so a fairly negligible difference between the two teams seems likely, but of course Glamorgan could go on and on and on, and if they can get 50 in front, it would be very handy runs.
Improbable.
You say that.
Ooh, interesting, funky fielding positions.
Paterson in. We've got a leg slip, leg gully pulled away for a single out onto the leg side. That's Calvin Harrison doing the fielding. So he's on as a sub, number 31. Who we're missing? It's James Pato. Oh, James Pato's bowling. What are you pointing at now, then?
Hamid, for that last ball, was almost directly behind Joe Clark, with Clark in a sort of leg slip, leg gully, and Hamid about 20 yards behind him at fine leg. It looked as though they'd messed up the fielding positions, but I think they were hoping to get a top edge off or sort of flick down the leg side from Wheel.
I don't know who I can't see. Is it Joey Everson? Might be Joey Everson who's popped off. Paterson bowls, quick delivery, Van der Houten keeps it out, and Paterson can't believe it as he throws his hands again up in the air. Exclamation of frustration, if ever there was one. 273 for 8. Last wicket went down at 248, so they've added 25. Three balls left of the 80th over. Paterson bowls and driven back to him by Van der Houten. Fair to say it's been pretty tough going today for the Nottinghamshire bowlers, all of them. Aeroplane activity overhead, you can perhaps hear. Can't see it though. Sounds like a big one, so I'm sure we'll see it on its journey into East Midlands in a moment or two. 273 for 8. James Paterson just moving Ben Slater from mid-wicket to almost square on the leg side fence, front of the Fox Road stand. You can see a number of people in there with shorts on and plenty with shirt sleeves. Been a lovely day. Paterson bowls, Van der Houten does whip it away to Slater out there on the leg side fence, but all the way along the ground nice and safely. 274 for 8 is the score.
On the ball, producer. There you are, Nick. Right, you're on.
What did you tell him? Glamorgan going along nicely.
That's it. Eking out a few valuable runs for the 9th wicket.
Absolutely spot on the money as always. One ball left then in the 80th. This ball might be thrown off to the sidelines for a Alsatian to chew on its walk tomorrow. It'll become a net ball, won't it? It's a big box of net balls they use. Next one pulled away fine for 4 by Wheel. Cries of catch down the leg side. Tom Moores went all the way but couldn't get there. Wasn't quite fine enough for him, and Wheel moves on to 20. 278 for 8. Glamorgan trail by 24. And that is the end of the 80th over. Now the umpires are getting together. Have you got the ball? No, have you got it? I told you to get it at tea.
Oh, I thought they'd be all out by now. I think we'd need one.
We've got it. I'd like to see them, the second new ball, they should bowl the first over of it, still with that polythene bag on. Chris Watts waves it to the scorers. And we've got a brand new cherry for Brett Hutton to bowl with.
National Counties T20s start this Sunday. There we are, and Wales are playing on a new venue for them, Bangor, T Newydd ground, as they host Bedfordshire on Sunday. Bit of
Didn't
decent
we have
level
a lovely time?
cricket.
The day we went. Now, who was that?
Fiddlers.
Dram. Yes, that was it. Good first ball from Brett Hutton outside the off peg and through to the keeper. Is this your end or mine? Lost all track of.
Yeah, so have I, to be honest.
Any coordination.
You can say.
Fiddler's Dram, that was it. Didn't we have a lovely time the day we went to Bangor?
Oh, terrible.
Sat at the back and chatted with Jack or something, wasn't it?
Yes, I'm trying not to remember that one.
Where are they now? Fiddler's Dram, 278 for 8. This Brett Hutton. Next one wide of the off peg. Of course, you're here in Nottingham, the home of the great Paper Lace. Remember Billy Don't Be a Hero?
Oh dear.
And what was the other one? They had two. The night Chicago died. Do you remember that one?
No.
Oh, you're only a nipper, aren't you?
Well, not really, but my wife produces a 60s and 70s radio show on Sundays, and
Billy Don't Be a Hero.
She brings out the cheese sometimes. Yeah, I remember that one.
Next ball is looked as if it was on the pads and it looked as if it was in front, but Brett Hutton wasn't interested. The three behind the keeper and the two slips were, but Hutton knew. He knew. Do
Nottinghamshire have a sort of neighbouring national county with big links to in the sort of second tier stuff?
Well, they've always had a strong relationship, of course, with Lincolnshire, in that they used to play matches at Cleethorpes and now play in Grantham. They use Derbyshire really as their minor county next door. This goes through to that was said very much with tongue-in-cheek, folks. 278 for 8.
I can tell you that there's a match at Grantham on Sunday then, Lincolnshire against Hertfordshire.
Oh right, yeah. People would suggest rather than Derbyshire, they'd say it was Leicestershire, wouldn't they? Because they're always quick to trot out all the players that played for Leicestershire. Your Broads and your James Taylors and your Gurneys and your Greg Smiths and your Zach Chappells that have moved from Grace Road to here, wide of the off stump from Hutton.
That's lapsed into a bit of football managers speak, hasn't it? Pluralising players. Yep. Your Dave Bracegirdles, your Nick Webbs. Yep. They churn away on the commentary day in, day out. Do a solid holding job in midfield.
Very much been a game of two halves. 278 for 8. VD Guchten, as it says on the board, or VD Huckton. 10 not out. He's on strike. Brett Hutton bowls to him and slammed down the ground past him and past Dane Paterson at mid-off for 4. Have a bit of that. And Brett Hutton kicks out at an imaginary football in frustration. And Glamorgan are within 20 at 282 for 8.
Meaty, isn't he, Tim van der Hoogten's striking. Spends a while prodding round and then unleashes the odd muscular blow when he gets half an opportunity. 20 between the two sides. Oof, will Glamorgan have dizzy hopes of taking the lead?
20 hours left as well, so it's 5:30 now. We're going to be heading towards 7 o'clock again.
There we are. I've been confirmed that that's my last radio engagement of the day. Paterson to Wheel, who drives, who's looking into the offside. He hit it to mid-on. I think he was looking to play through mid-off.
Tannoy announcement then, but I've no idea what it was. After the first ball of the 82nd over, I don't know what it could have been.
So, fairly even Stevens here at Trent Bridge on BBC Sport Online. Also available via the two club websites, we hope. As Paterson balls and Wheel again flicks it away aerially on the leg side, and this time he's beaten the scrambling Hamid at fine leg, who wasn't quite sure whether to hurl himself at that one. In the end decided it wasn't quite worth the candle, and it's run away between fine leg and square leg, and they've taken the boundary, and Wheel is quite happy to launch himself at these deliveries on the leg side. Nottinghamshire obviously think they can get him out caught.
The Derbyshire era under Mickey Arthur started quite impressively in terms of their home game. 505 for 8 declared, and now they've got Sussex 125 for 6 in reply. So Derbyshire very much on top there against that young Sussex side.
As Wheel drives at that one, gets it off a bottom edge, and a good call from Van der Hoogten, who realised that the ball was rolling down into the leg slip area, and they'll dash through for a single.
Elsewhere, Division 1 at Taunton, Somerset now 132 for 6. So that's a lead of 61 over Essex, only 4 wickets left. Kent's openers still together, 104 on the board. Ben Compton 45 not out, Zach Crawley 54 not out. That's in reply to Lancashire's 506 all out.
Paterson in to bowl. Van der Hoogten leaves outside off stump, and there's no run. This stand, I would suggest, has gone into the realms of irritating for Nottinghamshire, having added 39.
I think I said that when they'd added 18. It's now becoming particularly frustrating. Yeah, I think you're spot on.
Thank you to Andy Tingy for reminding me that I used to play with a bat with an 80s or 80-ish rock band on the splice. As Van der Hoogten hoiks that one over mid-off. Not sure if it's got the momentum to reach the boundary. Yes, it will, just ahead of the pursuing Hutton. And Van der Hoogten is striking it fairly nicely now. He's on to 18 and Glamorgan on to 291 for 8.
Smashing it to all parts is the lad. 43 they've now added. And Glamorgan trail by 11.
Well, it's not what Mullaney ordered when he ordered the new ball, but there's always the danger that it can travel more quickly off the bat.
James Paterson is closing in on his century, 1 for 96.
And he comes to bowl to Van der Hoogten, who is a little squared up by that one. Ball running off a leading edge, but all along ground, back past the bowler to mid-off. 291 for 8. Wheel is 25. Van der Hoogten is 18. Glamorgan are 11 runs behind. And I suspect there's another BBC Radio Nottingham update heading our way.
291 for 8 is the score. James Whale 25, Van der Hoogten 18. Going to be Brett Hutton to continue. Not yet, and I suspect we'll still be here playing in an hour. 19 overs remain in the day. Alex has not pursue the maximum bowling bonus points for getting 9 Glamorgan wickets. That's because they've only got 8 down. 291 for 8. Remember, not scored 302 yesterday with that century from Ben Duckett. So Glamorgan are only 11 behind now. And this 9th wicket partnership particularly frustrating for Notts because it's now worth 43 between James Whale and Tim van der Hoogten, the former Dutch international. The big wickets today, really. Marnus Labuschagne, the world #1 ranked test batsman, only made 3. Brett Hutton got him out this morning. The former Notts man Sam Northeast batted for most of the day. Terrific knot from him before he was bowled by Dane Paterson for 85. 3 wickets as well for young Joey Everson, bouncing back after his duck yesterday. As I say, we've got plenty of cricket left. Almost 19 overs on this second day, and Glamorgan are within 11. They're 291 for 8. There's Brett Hutton to continue bowling to James Whale, who's had a little fiddle at that one, but doesn't fiddle it through to Moores.
He was a little bit too tucked up there, wasn't he, James Whale? Long arms, he's around 6'4", 6'5" tall, and that one rather too close to the body, and he couldn't free those long arms. Of course, Glamorgan's number 11, Michael Hogan, is a man of considerable length of arms and legs.
Brett Hutton comes in again, bowls to the left-handed Wheel, leaves this alone. Good judgment from the former Durham and Leicestershire man. 9 more runs are required for that third batting bonus point.
And again, this last hour's play with the game really in the balance could be vital in the course of the match.
Hutton bowls to Wheel, cuts him in two, but the ball doesn't make contact with the stumps. 291 for 8. Just looking at James Whale, Middlesbrough born. He's 28 years of age now. Began with Durham, first class debut in 2015. Moved to Leicestershire in that COVID season, the Bob Willis Trophy season. Played a handful of games in 2020, and second year now with Glamorgan. Just 22 previous first class games. Highest score of 84. He's got best bowling figures of a 7-for as he goes after this one and misses it as it goes through to Moores. And there's no addition to the total at the end of the over. James Whale has played against Notts 3 times and a best of 23, so he's gone past that now. He's on 25.
Seemed to get a bit bored in that over, didn't he? As if he lost patience in the second half of the over. He got beaten a couple of times and then had a wild swish at the last ball. But still 9 runs, 1 extra batting bonus point to potentially level it up at 6-all. It's 5-all at the moment. 9 runs needed by Glamorgan, 1 wicket needed by Nottinghamshire, and little doubt that they'll get it because there's only 83 overs on the board. Paterson to bowl to Van der Hoogten, and he bowls a shortish delivery that Van der Hoogten just allows to hit him, and he must have some good padding on somewhere.
Either titanium arm guards or as you say, some cushions somewhere. Yeah, still looking at James Whale here. He's played against Notts 3 times, once for Durham, once for Leicestershire, and now once for Glamorgan. And played 22 first-class games, 3 against Notts for different counties.
He's obviously a Notts specialist then. Who are you playing? Nottinghamshire. Oh, we'll have to get Wheelie in the side. Van der Hoogten faces up to Paterson and is beaten outside off stump. There's plenty of playing and missing going on at the moment, with the new ball maybe doing a little bit. Having said that, Wheel might not have played had James Harris been fit.
Richard Illingworth just looking where Paterson is, or where his feet are landing. Crikey, if he was to get a wicket now and it'd be called for a no ball again, there'd be 1 or 2 recriminations. Glamorgan just 11 adrift.
2 slips crouch. Paterson steams in. Van der Hoogten drives nicely down the ground. That'll be 4 runs. Fetch that one. As he timed that one beautifully. Maybe slightly over pitch from Paterson. And Wheel tucked in with the on drive. And the partnership is now 47.
Yeah, that was almost as good as anything we've seen all day, wasn't it? A very elegant looking on drive.
Absolutely correct from Glamorgan's Flying Dutchman, or Dutch Aussie. 22 he has now to his credit. 295 on the board. Van der Hoogten tries it again, and he's got this one through mid-off. Drilled away up to the pavilion. And that won't improve Paterson's temper, as his 100 has come up with the first of those blows, and it's now 104 against his name. Van der Hoogten to 26, 299 for 8. Glamorgan 3 runs in arrears.
50 partnership as well.
50 partnership as well. Thank you. So that's a bit of a turnaround since these two came together in the 73rd over. We're now in the 84th.
Slammed one through mid-on for 4, and then I'll have a little bit of variety. Slam the next one through mid-off for 4.
What's Paterson got in reply? Another ball outside off stump that Van der Hoogten tries to hit through the covers, but is thwarted by diving Liam Paterson-White at cover. And there's no run.
One ball left in this over. And Glamorgan within one blow of not only bringing up that 3rd batting bonus point, but of going past Notts. They're 3 behind.
Are you praying for scores level? Your desire for order? Paterson bowls. Van der Hoogten will bring up that 3rd batting bonus point for Glamorgan as he turns it into a gap on the leg side, and the crowd give Glamorgan generous recognition of that fight back. 52 added for the 9th wicket between Wheel and Van der Hoogten. 300 for 8, trail by 2.
Takes a single from the last ball, almost there as if he was counting. Tim Van der Hoogten has gone past James Wheel now. 27 to the left-handers 25. Just gone a little flat in the field again for Nottinghamshire. They were pumped full of goodness when they got rid of Sam Northeast, but
sounds like an advertising slogan for some particularly healthy product, doesn't it?
This partnership of now more than 50 has just dampened their ardour somewhat.
Pumped full of goodness. Available from all good health food shops.
300 for 8.
Greeno grub.
Still 17 overs remain. It's 5:45, so 7 o'clock, look out, we're coming for you. Next ball played on the leg side. Shadows starting to lengthen.
Yeah, it probably suits Glamorgan that Van der Hoogten's on strike, because Wheel was in a bit of difficulty in the last Hutton over. Hutton 2 for 50, but it is the 5th seamer, Joey Everson, who is leading the wickets column at the moment.
Comes Brett Hutton once more. Bowls, and this one's guided down to 3rd man very gently. Open face by Van der Hoogten. 301 for 8, Glamorgan are 1 behind.
Well, you see useful runs, aren't they, after the middle order fell away a bit. Carlson 22, Cook no score, Taylor 9. And he's chipped in with 20, and very valuable and frustrating runs.
Carlson dropped on 0 by Nasib Ahmed. Wheel on strike. Hutton bowls and pushed at that one, but doesn't nick it as it goes through to Moores. Been a day full of frustration for a lot of the Nottinghamshire bowlers. Not seen too much of the spinner, just a couple of overs before lunch from Liam Paterson-White.
Yeah, you do wonder if that over rate might dip again at the end of the innings. It was -1, then -2, and Nottinghamshire might have a bit of ground to make up in the 2nd innings if they're not to potentially lose a bonus point.
301 for 8. I'll bet you now that doesn't happen. Next ball is pushed into the offside, and there's no run.
I think they'll offer the umpires extra scones at tea.
There's plenty of time in the match to sort it out. The Glamorgan 2nd innings, of course, but I guarantee they will. Hutton past umpire Watts. Bowls pushed firmly into the offside, and there's Again, no run.
Yeah, Nottinghamshire badly in need of making something happen at the moment. We wouldn't think they were bowling at two tail-enders with a new ball.
Yeah, they'd take anything, wouldn't they? A scruffy played on, or a loose waft straight to a fielder. Let's see what happens. It's not a loose waft, but it's gone to backward point to a Mead. End of the over.
Yeah, Wheel was trying to turn that on the leg side. Didn't get it anywhere near in the direction that he was intending, and well, there's confidence for you. The 9th wicket pair have called for drinks and get a quick hydration break from Dan, the 12th man.
Change of gloves as well.
Oh,
that's always the ultimate insult to the bowling side when the number 10 changes his gloves.
That's professional for you.
Dane Paterson coming back into the attack.
So Paterson retreats to nurse his wounded pride.
One for 104 or 5, wasn't it?
Won't do his bowling average much good unless he manages to nip out the last two later on, but he'll have to.
I don't think he cares about that. Absolutely one jot. But
he's not a man for stats,
no.
is he? No, Michael Hogan is similarly inclined, but he did get a bit worried about his 600th first-class wicket for some reason. Here's Paterson into bowl to Van der Hochten, who defends, and it took him a couple of weeks to get there, actually, when he was on 599, I think. But get there he did, and with power to add through the course of this season before he hangs up his bowling boots and goes back home to live in Australia. Next delivery turned on the leg side by Van der Hochten. Thought there might have been a single there, but the bowler Paterson was quickly down the wicket and prevented that from being taken as Paterson lobs it back to Paterson White for polishing duties while he marches back towards the pavilion as the shade from the Smith Cooper stand is spreading out over an area of the pitch away to our right.
Yeah, it's where it starts to get chilly in the Smith Cooper stand, and on the other side of the ground they have to start shielding their eyes because they're looking straight into the sunshine.
Paterson bowls, Van der Hochten drives, but he's hit that too firmly up to a very deep mid-off. There might just have been a scrambled single there, but he decided not to risk it. 301 for 8. Two slips. I suppose the slight plus side is that Nottinghamshire openers won't have so much of a tricky spell to negotiate tonight, maybe, as Van der Hochten plays that gently into the mid-wicket area, which is largely vacant, and they amble through for the run that takes the scores level at 302 apiece. And Glamorgan with 2 wickets still in hand. So it's been days of swings and roundabouts, hasn't it, with Glamorgan going well with that century stand for the 3rd wicket, looking as though they were odds on to get ahead. Then 6 wickets going as they slumped to 248 for 8. And Nottinghamshire looked favourites for a lead. Now scores level. Wheel has a waft at 1 down the leg side. And just a little bit of momentum, as they say, for Glamorgan going into the second half of the match.
The pressure to get these 2 wickets becomes even more crucial now. Every run valuable to Glamorgan as Dane Paterson bowls, and Wheel tries to force it through the offside, can't penetrate the ring. Stop at backward point by Ben Slater. Scores absolutely locked in parity, 302 apiece. Once again, we've got some intruders on the field in the form of the Glamorgan 12th man, and also is that the Glamorgan physio just attending to James Wheel.
Oh, yeah, maybe
it was a short visit, whatever it was. Slurped down a drink. He's on 25, Van der Houten on 29. Partnership of 54, which Notts need to break before it gets any healthier. It's going to be Brett Houghton to bowl. Tim van der Houten is on strike on 29. Here is Houghton. There are 2 slips. Houghton to van der Houten as Joey Everson does the fielding on the leg side. 3 wickets to Everson. 2 to Paterson. That's 5. A couple to Brett Houghton. That's 7, and one to James Pattinson. That's the other one. 302 for 8. Houghton bowls wide of the off peg, left alone by the right-hander. .302 for 8 it remains. This morning 2 wickets went down. Andrew Salter for 16, and then we sense that would be a big moment in the day when Marnus Labuschagne would be dismissed for 3, but 3rd wicket partnership proved to be very healthy between David Lloyd, who made 76, and Sam Northeast, who made 85. Next ball blocked again by van der Houten. Carlson was dropped on 0, was eventually dismissed for 22 by Joey Everson, who then followed it up with the wicket of Chris Cook for 0. Callum Taylor only made 9, and Michael Neser made 20. Couple of catches by the keeper, Tom Moore's couple for Joe Clark at first slip, and one by Ben Duckett at second. There's Houghton bowling to van der Houten. Gets solidly behind it and defends. Plenty of time left in the game, of course. No real reason that Glamorgan should look to push on and deliberately look to have 20 minutes at Notts tonight. If they can bat through to the close, well, the dressing room will be absolutely delighted. They'd love to see Notts have to go out there again tomorrow morning, but that's still a way away. 14 overs after this one.
Yeah, it's just a little bit of extra irritation, isn't it, if you have to go into the field, even if it's only for a few minutes.
Yep. Houghton bowls, and van der Houten pushes into the offside, and there's no run. Opening batsmen always prefer to start afresh after an interval or at the start of a morning, rather than the old 10-minute quick turnaround. Especially if they've been in the field for a length of time. There's Houghton concluding this over. Cuts that one back, but above the knee roll. End of the over. 7 overs now with this second new ball. Glamorgan 302 for 8.
I was half expecting an appeal there. That hit, as Dave said, around about the knee. 302 for 8. Glamorgan taking their time to potentially move ahead. Scores level. Michael Hogan will not hang around one way or the other. Out for 4 in his last innings. One swish effective, one swish that missed. 2 for 51 against the analysis and the bowling analysis of both these bowlers, Houghton and Paterson. and it is the South African to try and improve that. He's bowled 22 overs, Hutton's bowled 20, and Paterson charges towards us and bowls to Wheel, who looks to drive and mistimes it. The ball rolls up to mid-on, and there's no run. A few wandering away as we move up towards 6 o'clock, but I'm sure those in the Fox Road stand are basking in the sunshine. Is that a top off, I see?
Difficult seeing conditions, really, there.
Yeah, they'd be looking into the sun, wouldn't they? Paterson bowls and Wheel drives again to mid-on. Hit it a bit more cleanly, but Hutton moved in smartly just in case there was the chance of a single being pinched. So 2 days of pretty closely contested cricket here at Trent Bridge on BBC Sport Online. 302 for 8 as Wheel defends on the offside. No run.
Yes, I can confirm there is some naked flesh on display in the Fox Road stand. Put your top back on, madam. No, there are certainly at least 2 gentlemen I can see enjoying the sun with their shirts off.
Well, mid-April. What would they say in Yorkshire? Probably have a saying for it. Paterson bowls, short ball, Wheel pulls and almost saws the umpire in half at square leg, and that has beaten the dive of the man at backward square, and that is Glamorgan into the lead finally, as Joey Everson couldn't cut that one off. The ball lodged next to the hover cover, which is parked just beyond the boundary, and Glamorgan move 4 into the lead at 306 for 8.
Yes, if it was nuisance value before, it's now got a red line underneath it and 1 or 2 asterisks. 58 they've added.
Who will be able to strike the blow for the home side? Paterson to Wheel, who allows that one to go past outside off stump, and after 1 or 2 wafts, Wheel is batting properly, if we can put it that way. Obviously, being a 9 and 10, they have been beaten now and again by the Nottinghamshire seam attack. But the new ball has not, so far, proved as effective as the home side and Stephen Mullaney, the skipper, hoped it would. Beautiful view in the evening sunshine as Paterson bowls, and Wheel hammers it very hard back past him. May have been slightly aerial as it fizzled past the bowler, but I think he'd have been a rather foolhardy man to try and get his hand to that one. It was hit very firmly indeed. And Wheel has 33 off 41 deliveries at the end of Paterson's over. Glamorgan are 310 for 8. Wheel is 33, Van der Hoogten is 29. And this pair have added now 62 for the 9th wicket to take their side into the lead. Couple of boundaries by Wheel achieving that. If you have any closing thoughts on the day's play. The video stream, after a few issues, is back with us, I'm informed, as Hutton bowls and Van der Hoogten leaves outside off stump.
Lead of 8. 12 overs to go after this one, which has just started. 1 ball in. Brett Hutton bowling to Van der Hoogten. Liam Patterson-White is just turning his arm over a little bit at point, either to get loose or maybe to have a twirl. Another run here. Just run down off the bottom of the bat towards third man. Slater doing the fielding. Morgan lead by 9 at 311 for 8. But delighted with this partnership, worth 63 right now. Whale 33, Van der Houten 30. Houghton turns now to bowl to the left-handed wheel. Bowls on the pads, and this time it's helped down to long leg. It's still Slater, they didn't swap over. Slater's in the corner of the ground, down between the Larwood and Vaux stand and the Hound Road stand, and Dame Paterson doing long leg and fine leg on the other side of the ground, in front of the Batman board there. 312 for 8. Glamorgan lead by 10. Their first visit to Trent Bridge for a championship match since 2007. It's been far too long. Van der Houten on strike on 30, and will stay on 30 as he lets this pass through into the gloves of Moores.
Yes, I mean, for the benefit of Welsh listeners and maybe those who aren't watching as well, it might better explain Batman board with the ears sticking up.
That's exactly it, yes. Does resemble the silhouette that you see of Batman. Next ball is hit him on the pad. That looks a good shout from here. They're asking umpire Watts. I think too long has now expired for not to have any lingering hopes that the finger will be raised. But that looked a half decent shout. Yeah, I don't know if the camera crew and Kirsty are able to get a shot of the Batman board through the course of this over, just to illustrate what we mean by it.
The square jaw of the Caped Crusader.
That's exactly it, yep. 312 for 8. Looked a half decent shout, that one, but the umpire said no. 64 they've added. Van der Houten wears 64 on his shirt. This goes through to the keeper, end of the over. 312 for 8. Morgan lead by 10, and there are 12 overs left in the day.
Yes, as we're getting... There
we are. Look, there you go on the live stream.
Yeah.
Cape Crusader. Sock. Pow. Kapow. Golly gee, Batman.
What function those sticky up bits on the top actually perform?
Ooh.
Apart from making it look like Batman.
They're to navigate passing aeroplanes into East Midlands Airport. Liam Paterson-White's going to bowl.
Stopping people falling off the sides of it.
I think the Only Fools and Horses episode has sort of made sure that always springs to mind now when we think of Batman, more than all the Adam West, what's it, Burt Ward, Batman and Robin back in the day, all their escapades, and then of course all the feature films over the years with the various Cape Crusaders. But
David
Del
Jason.
Boy and Rodney running through the streets, brilliant, and bursting in to what they thought was a fancy dress party, and it was a wake. The intended host of the fancy dress party had died, hadn't they? It was a great bit of television, and apparently they had to got a great secrecy to make sure nobody found out, to seal off the streets in the early hours of the morning, to make sure there were no photographers there. So when it was actually screened for the first time, that nobody actually knew.
Liam Paterson-White to bowl the third over of spin in this innings, and James Wheel takes advantage by trying to loft it through the onside and not hitting it firmly enough, which might have saved him, because there are plenty of fielders now back on the leg side for the left-hander. There were 3. Everything changes round for the right-hander. Paterson-White bowling slow left arm, 2 overs, 1 maiden 0 for 6 before that delivery. He's got a short leg for Van der Houten as well as a slip, as Van der Houten defends back to the bowler, and there's no run. Also on the leg side as well as the short leg, there's a mid-on halfway back, a mid-wicket saving the single, and backward square leg on the boundary. Van der Houten forward, running it down to short third man, who's there as well as a slip, a cover point on the boundary, cover saving the single, and a deep-ish mid-off. Paterson White bowls, drags that one down rather, and Van der Hoogten cuts it away, and will take the single out towards Paterson, who's fielding in that cover sweeper role.
Yeah, threw it in from the Bridgeford Road side of the ground, and immediately Tom Moores held his hand up. He couldn't see, he was looking straight into the sun.
Next delivery from Paterson White to Wheel, back on his stumps.
It's interesting going into this round of matches, the leading wicket takers in Division 2 with 8, Liam Paterson White, with 7, Andrew Salter, and neither of them have taken a wicket yet.
In comes Paterson White, down the wicket comes Wheel.
Ooh.
Eventually hit on the pads. It was a rather optimistic shout from the bowler.
Well, you say that, but if a slow left arm spinner is going to get a wicket, he's going to get it from slow left arm spinner Richard Illingworth, you would hope. But he didn't get it. He was a long way down, wasn't he?
There's a big stride from a big man. 314 for 8. Decent enough first over back. This one was a bit of a drag down, but just the 2 singles conceded off it. 314 for 8. Glamorgan lead by 12 runs, and there are 11 overs remaining.
I know starting the game at Hove last week, Sussex were full of optimism. They were going to have a better season. Beaten by Notts last week. They're 150 for 7, replying to Derbyshire's 505. Here's Hutton. Bowls to Van der Hoogten, and it goes through to Moores. This partnership worth 66 right now. Glamorgan's lead is 12. Really irritable as far as Notts were concerned. Absolutely just what the doctor ordered as far as Glamorgan were concerned. Who, I would imagine, Nick, like Notts yesterday, well, at certain stages today, I felt they were on course for a really big score and then were pegged back. And I think that was the same yesterday with Notts. But they've done enough to get in front. It's just how many in front they can get as the next one is left alone.
I'm glad to see that this 9th wicket pair are taking it seriously, aren't they? They're trying to rein in any instincts of having a whoosh, hitting out and potentially getting out, and just taking the odd bad ball. Tim van der Hoogten hit a couple of straight 4s. Wheel drilled one past the bowler as well.
There's Hutton again. Into Van der Hoogten, who's got hold of this one. He's hit it up in the air and it's over Pattinson at mid-off, and it will go for 4 runs down below us. Nice shot. 318 for 8. Van der Hoogten back in front. He's 35 to Wheel's 34. They've added 70. The lead is 16. T says Liam Paterson White is under-bowled, and the umpires today are very much under-fingered. That was highly effective. We've seen Van der Hoogten play that shot now, I think 3 times, lifting it up and over and away for straight 4s.
Yeah, Michael Hogan probably felt the umpires were under-fingered in the last match. Yeah. A load of appeals turned down.
Turning into a long old day, and the cough's coming back. Nice looking shot. This is a high quality stroke through the leg side for 4.
Oh, it's only just going to get there. Oh, just hops over the rope. Just had enough strength to get over the rope at mid-wicket, probably slightly to the relief of Everson, otherwise they might have turned for 5. 20 the lead.
Highest partnership for the 9th wicket by Glamorgan batsman against Nottinghamshire, I'm afraid, is not yet under threat by a long way. You've already talked about it in this game. 2007 at St Helens, 185 for the 9th wicket. As Hutton bowls, goes through to the keeper, Robert Croft and James Harris. 185 they put on at St Helens in 2007.
Well, to be fair, those 2 fairly decent batsmen coming together for a 9th wicket, aren't they? Harris still very early in his career as a teenager, and while the old campaigner Robert Croft.
Hutton in again to Van der Houten, and again a play and a miss. And really frustrating to be on the fielding side or to be a bowler and get it past the outside edge repeatedly through the course of the day. Just feel that things aren't for you, going against you. Goes very much against the grain. You expect a fair rub of the green if you put balls in good areas continually. I hope one will be nicked. In that Sussex score, by the way, Cheteshwar Pujara on his Sussex debut out for 6, Mohammad Rizwan on his Sussex debut out for 22. So not quite able to do a Shan Masood, either of them.
Now a double century for the Pakistani opener for Derbyshire. In what would be his first home game, wouldn't it? He's endured him in. Pleased the Derbyshire faithful as Wheel plays no shot and the ball flicks off the pad to slip.
Now we've mused all day the potential of a 2-day result at Taunton. I don't know how much time is left, but Somerset have been bowled out in their second innings.
As Paterson White bowls and Wheel. Well, did that hit anything on the way through? It's running down towards the boundary beneath us. It has crossed the boundary. 4 byes. Didn't touch the batsman. Bat or person.
I think there was a little bit of turn there which deceived the batsman, missed the stumps and got past Tom Moores. So a little look as and when we can. Somerset all out for 154 in their second innings. Essex need 84.
Paterson White bowls Wheel forward to defend. Shouldn't think they'll get him tonight then, unless they have a thrash.
It depends how much time is left, doesn't it? And
they're allowed to take the extra half hour on the second day.
Well, if it depends what the score is at the close. If you think you can get them in the extra half an hour.
No shot played again by Wheel outside off stump. Using that big stride of the right pad to try and prevent himself being bowled, but rendering himself vulnerable to an LBW shout. That time he did play a shot, bat and pad together. Ball drops down in front of him.
I would imagine chasing 84, if you say 45 or so, you could claim the extra half an hour.
Paterson White, slow left arm from the pavilion end, bowls and forward stretches Wheel to defend. There are now 9 overs remaining to be bowled today, and maybe Wheel and Van der Houten do have hopes and ambitions of coming back tomorrow with bat rather than ball in hand.
Yeah. In that Somerset second innings, Shane Snater 6 for 36. He got he got a 7 for here last year for Essex against Notts, and Notts went on to win by an innings. Joey Everson's back, 3 for 51 from his 13 overs through the course of the day. Will be bowling initially to Van der Houten. And the lead is 24. 9 overs remain. Notts had to bat for 5 overs last night.
Yeah, that could be a possibility if these 2 wickets fall in the next couple of overs. As Everson will try and knock over this 9th wicket.
It's bowling to Van der Houten. First one is, well, he's just on his thigh pad, works it away on the leg side. Fairly regulation. Single taken. 327 for 8. Van der Houten's on to 40.
Yeah, it's a decent innings from a tail-ender. Started last season with a half-century against Yorkshire amid the snow showers at Headingley. In fact, he got a 85 in that match, his career best. As Nottinghamshire's skipper Stephen Mullaney. Ball brings a plane into land at East Midlands Airport.
Yeah, a lot of arm waving, isn't there? A lot of fielders moving hither and thither, here and there. Good to have a plan, though. Whatever the plan is, it's always good to have a plan. Joey Everson to bowl to Wheel, who's on 34, been overtaken by his batting partner, and Wheel steers this out as far as Joe Clark, who's out of the slip cordon. Been there for much of the day. Just the one slip, Ben Duckett. Signed for the Welsh Fire for this year's 100, Joe Clark. As has Ben Duckett. Jake Ball also, Nottinghamshire player. So Cardiff will be their home for a while in the summer as this one drifts down the leg side, well taken by Moores. Spoke to Luke Fletcher. He played a number of games for the Welsh Fire last year, and he said, well, a terrific atmosphere there was inside Sapphire Gardens for those matches.
Yeah, the last game I think was the only one in which they were able to have a biggish crowd because of the Welsh Government restrictions, which went on longer than in England.
Wheel 34 on strike, again pushes this back past Everson and then takes a cheeky single to move to 35. 328 for 8. And the lead is 26 for Glamorgan. They'll be looking towards that 350 and another batting point if they,
steady
if
on.
they can. Well, they're only 22 away. 8 overs after this one this evening. There's Everson. Bowls. Nice little push into the mid-wicket area. They considered 2, but Brett Hutton was just too quickly to the ball, so only a single. 329 for 8. Van der Houten 41, Wheel 35, partnership of 81. Really damaging Nottinghamshire spirits here. One ball left in the 93rd over. Here's Everson. Bowls down the leg side, 4 runs. Plenty of bat on that, we could hear it. A meaty clump down the leg side from Wheel. Takes him to 39, and we've got, well, we landed on Nelson this morning, or just after lunch. We're on double Nelson round about tea, and now triple Nelson's brought up. 333 for 8. Glamorgan lead by 31.
That wasn't something that I was expecting to see on the Batman board. 333 for 8, treble Nelson. As wickets fell at regular intervals from 163 for 2 at one point to 248 for 8. It's now 333 for 8 as Paterson White will go into his 5th over. He's still got the short leg in, and Van der Houten plays it wide of the short leg, and Wheel wants a single, and it's comfortable enough. Slater could do nothing about that one, moving round from mid-wicket. Let's see if the short leg stays in. He does for James Wheel, and I wouldn't fancy being Hasib Hamid if Wheel has a swing there. But he just clips that one neatly out into the onside, and there's no run. 334 for 8. 16 needed for the 4th batting point. Wheel stretches forward and defends. No run. Long shadows now cast along across Trent Bridge with the shadow of the stand.
Yes, Hamid's got to be very still, hasn't he, because his shadow's right on a length.
Paterson White bowls, and Wheel drives pleasantly into the offside. He'll get a couple of runs here as it's fielded on the cover boundary and a bit of tag team fielding. Was that Paterson with the dive?
Yeah.
Gareth Edwards old-fashioned style scrum half pass. Couple of runs, 336 for 8. Paterson White bowls, Wheel back on his stumps, plays to Duckett at mid-wicket, and there's no run. Wheel has moved on to 41. Van der Hoogten has 42. There are 7 overs left in the day after this delivery from Liam Paterson-White. And it's push and run from Wheel into the offside. Just steered it towards the umpire at point. Easy single with those long legs eating up the ground. Both batsmen have 42. Glamorgan 337 for 8.
Yep, pint for the marker. 42 apiece. Glamorgan 35 in front. 7 overs remain. So Nottinghamshire, a lot of work to do yet if they're to dismiss Glamorgan this evening, but in all possibility the Welsh County might well start again tomorrow morning as another holiday jet comes over the ground. One of those orange ones. It'll turn away into East Midlands Airport. There you are on your live stream. There's Everson. Bowls to Wheel, push into the offside. Doing the fielding there is Joe Clark in the covers.
Yeah, it was one of those orange ones a couple of weeks ago.
5 on the offside, 4 fielders on the leg side. Been a really lovely day. Everson bowls again, absolutely no trouble at all. James Wheel clips this to deep square for another single. He goes ahead of Van der Hoogten again, 43 to 42, and the lead is 36. Notts are going to have to bat well tomorrow, and then we could be very nicely set for a thrilling last day. As Everson fields off his own bowling, 338 for 8. Ten wickets went down yesterday, 8 have gone down today with 6.5 overs left. Joey Everson bowls to Van der Hoogten. Tim with 2 M's. No run as it's pushed into the offside to Clark.
Yes, the extra M's. The extra M is not entirely audible on the stream. Should be visible if they post his full name, but he's just down as Hoogten at the moment.
We've got W.J. Wheel and we've got Hoogten. Next ball is allowed to pass through to the wicket keeper.
Sure, if they can fit in W.J. Wheel, they should be able to fit in TVD Hoogten.
If that's all you've got to... the stream hopefully has provided a very useful service today. Absolutely. For listeners far and wide and viewers far and wide that have been able to join passages of the match with us. There's Joey Everson in bowls, hit into the offside nicely. Good looking shot. Seba Mead with work to do in front of the Fox Road stand. Comes back for a couple. James Wheel actually ran there holding carrying his helmet. End of the over, 340 for 8, and Van der Hoogten's back in front now, 44 to 43. They're having their own little mini charge towards a half century. Glamorgan's lead is 38.
Yeah, not quite sure what taking off your helmet is about. Maybe Wheel getting a little overheated.
Makes him streamlined.
the airflow past the shaven head. Aerodynamic. 6 overs to bowl this evening, which means that Nottinghamshire, even if they took 2 wickets now, would face 3 overs with the bowl. With Glamorgan having ball in hand, that is. Paterson-White, though, 0 for 12. Bowling with quite a hard, bouncy ball, you would have thought. Only 15 overs old. In will come the next ball from Paterson White eventually, once he's got his field right. There's still a short leg and slip, and Will drives up to mid-on and will go through for a single.
That was almost a little bit of an ugly drag, wasn't it, on the leg side. He's not been agricultural in the slightest. He's played some lovely shots, they both have. And that one was a little bit of a wild drag onto the leg side.
341 for 8. 9 for a potential 4th point. Undreamed of riches at one stage as Van der Hoogten plays that one into the offside. Thinks about a single duck, it says. Not on your Nelly, as he makes good ground to his left. Lawrence messages, few things more satisfying and funny in cricket than watching your team's tail wag merrily like a Labrador's. Nothing more annoying than when it happens against you, as Van der Hoogten slogs that one over deep mid-on. Will it go all the way? Yes, it will. Van der Hoogten moves to 48 not out, 345 for 8.
From the Glamorgan perspective, you can only applaud what's happened here. They've really played nicely, taken every opportunity that's been going.
Pass White balls, and Van der Hoogten's driven this one through the leg side. There'll be at least a couple more runs, as that is the century partnership. No, it's the 50 for Van der Hoogten with those 2 runs. Applause in particular from the Welsh contingent, but a generous reaction as well. 50 off 80 balls and 8 fours.
My word, what a very useful innings this has been. It's been highly effective. Wasted no opportunity to punch the ball down the ground for boundaries when it's been pitched up. Congratulations to Tim van der Hoogten.
Faster ball from Paterson White, blocked back to the bowler. So 1 off the century partnership now. 347 for 8. Van der Hoogten pushes forward into the offside. They will go through for the quick single. Wheel is home. The keeper can't take Duckett's throw. Wheel falls over. The keeper's gone sprawling, and that is the century stand. So applause twice in the space of 3 balls. It's come off 143 balls. Van der Hoogten has 51 of them, and Wheel has 44 of those runs.
Well, you can't really say anything other than what a brilliant effort from this pair, James Wheel and Tim van der Hoogten. And the runs have come at a decent lick, as Nick has just said. 143 balls. I don't know as I've made a note of the tea time score, but they've absolutely rattled along in this final session. I'm sure it's there somewhere. 348 for 8 Glamorgan. It was
233 for 6 at tea.
Yeah, I've just found it. So they've added 115 for 2 in this final session. There's Joey Everson in to bowl, and now Van der Hoogten hands over the responsibility to his batting partner by taking a single. He's under 52. Wheel has 44, and Glamorgan are 1 away from producing another round of applause for reaching 350. And if they do that, they're going to go ahead in the bonus point situation, definitely. 6-5 to Glamorgan at the moment. Notts can only get another bonus point. Everson tries to get it there with a full pitch delivery, which is kept out.
Yeah, I'd already written the Notts 6th bonus point into my closer player report. They only need 1 ball to get it.
They do. They've only got 28 deliveries left in the evening. 4 overs and 4 balls remain. Glamorgan 349 for 8. And this lead has now grown swollen to 47. Next one's worked onto the leg side, fielded by Paterson White. .349 for 8 as Joey Everson comes in to bowl to the left-handed wheel, drives through the offside, and there is the 350th run. So it's Glamorgan really laying down a marker here in this game. They've gone ahead. They've gone ahead in bonus points. They've got 7 to Nottinghamshire's 5, but they're 48 runs to the good, and they still have these 2 wickets to fall. This partnership worth 102. Will it go on to be the highest partnership of the match? We had 116 yesterday between Mullaney and Duckett. We've had 117 today between Lloyd and North East, as Everson bowls wide of the off peg. If you're watching on the live stream, by the way, a reminder, as we do every day, if you stick around, leave it on, Aaron will be down on the outfield and he'll grab some reaction at the close of play. Kevin Shine, the Notts bowling coach, will be down there with Aaron at the close of play, and he'll give you his thoughts on how it's gone and how it's likely to go on days 3 and 4 as Everson bowls. Mighty blow, hit towards us, just one bounce, just short, a couple of feet or so, just short of the ropes down below us for 4. And we've seen Van der Houten play that shot a number of times. He's on 56, Wheel has 45, 354 for 8, and the lead is over 52. And we've got 4 overs left in the second day. Going to be Paterson White. From the pavilion end, he'll be bowling to James Wheel. A few have drifted away now. Look around, and although not sparse, there's still a decent number in, but probably only half the number that we had at the height of the day.
Paterson White then from the pavilion end to the left-handed wheel as an appeal for a catch behind, and he is given. And Nottinghamshire finally have their breakthrough. Wheel has to go for 45. Glamorgan 354 for 9. Nottinghamshire do have their 6th point of the match.
Yeah, Paterson White getting his first wicket of this contest, his 9th of the season so far. Tom Moore's 3rd catch. James Wheel caught Moores, bowled Paterson White 45, batted for 108 minutes, faced 67 balls, and hit, what did he hit? 7 4s, 354 for 9 is the score. So 1 man to come. There's the possibility that Notts might have to face 1 over if another wicket goes down in the remainder of this over. Good round of applause. And that partnership was just shy of the highest one in the day. 106 they put on for the 9th wicket.
Thank you very much indeed, David. If your voice holds out, I think I might have to leave you to describe the remaining overs, because as I've been saying, it's quite difficult to write the story of the day until this evening session. So will Nottinghamshire strive to get this wicket in the next 5 balls? Hogan might try and dispatch it to a neighbouring parish. He usually does.
So you finish what you've got to finish. I'll try and guide it through. He's getting a full briefing here, Michael Hogan. He's being given the lowdown on every bowler, every fielder, the conditions, what he's likely to expect, and most importantly, what he wants him to do in the 3.5 overs that remain. Van der Houten, I'm sure, is in no mood to end his innings right now, but he's at the non-strikers end on 56. Still 5 balls left in this over. And Liam Paterson-White is in to the number 11, who pushes into the offside. And there's no run. So that partnership again was worth 106 for the 9th wicket. And Glamorgan 354 for 9. They'll be delighted, I'm sure, with how the day has gone. And now Hogan looks to play a few shots. He's drilled this up to mid-off, but there's no run there. Van der Houten really taking charge of this session. And Hogan's punched this very firmly, very crisply to wideish mid-off. Doesn't beat the fielder, Joe Clark. Doesn't get anything for it. I'm not entirely sure that was all part of the briefing that Van der Houten gave to his partner. Got 2 balls left in this over. Notts would have to bat for an over if a wicket goes down in these 2. Make that 1, as this is now defended. 354 for 9, 20 to 7. Local time, finished at 7 last night. Liam Paterson-White bowls again. A little bit of turn there, that goes through to the keeper, so we know Nottinghamshire won't have to bat this evening. The question now is, will they be brought back out to bowl tomorrow morning, or can they finish the job this evening? 18 deliveries left with Glamorgan. 52 runs to the good. Today they've lost Salter for 16, Labuschagne for 3, Lloyd for 76, Carlson for 22, Cook without scoring, Taylor for 9, Neser for 20, Northeast for 85, and Van der Houten has just gone for, I beg your pardon, Wheel has just gone for 45. Van der Houten still there on 56, he's on strike. And not surprisingly, Nottinghamshire have decided they're going to protect the boundaries. So out they go, Stephen Mullaney sending them off to all parts. And James Paterson with a chance to just drag his figures back a little bit. 1 for 105, his figures at the moment. Bob says with that fall of that wicket, better late than never. Aha. There's a deepish slip, Ben Duckett, which is... Do you need a slip? I mean, if you don't have a slip, it's going to be edged through there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 on the fence. Mullaney almost on the fence, and a slip. And Van der Houten plays it down to deep backward square to Dane Paterson, but they don't take a run. Almost a little bit of a phony war going on here, and it might happen for the first 4 balls of the over. We often see this sort of scenario, and then Stephen Mullaney will bring his fielders in, and then maybe Van der Houten will have a bit of a swish at the 5th ball and miss it, and then James Paterson will bowl a bouncer to the last one, and I don't know, they'll scramble a bye or some such. 354 for 9. There's Paterson to bowl to Van der Houten. Works it away on the leg side. Could have a single because Dane Paterson is a mile away, but he trots in and picks it up. They have no intention of taking a run. 16 balls left in the day. BBC Radio Nottingham, BBC Wales bringing you the last knockings of day 2 of Nottinghamshire versus Glamorgan in Division 2. Notts made 302 yesterday, with Ben Duckett making 122. No Centurions for Glamorgan today, but 2 century partnerships, and that's probably the difference between the 2 sides, because Glamorgan have a lead of 52. Sam Northeast top scored with 85. Next ball on the pads of Van der Houten, and he pushes it towards mid-on, but James Paterson comes across and fields off his own bowling. So we've had 3 balls, and the field remains as it was. Will he take a single while it's there, while it's being offered? Giving James Paterson 2 deliveries at Hogan. Wouldn't be surprised if he does. Take the run while it's there, while it's offered. 354 for 9. Here is Paterson. Ball 4, and it's pushed into the offside. No, he doesn't take the single. Could have done. Long single there as well, pushed into the offside. So 2 balls left. Now we wait for somebody to say, "Hey Skip, are you going to bring him in?" In fact, it's the bowler doing it, saying he's talking to the captain. Surely you're going to bring the fielders in for balls 5 and 6.
Such is the tradition.
Don't know as they are. Don't know as they are. He's left them out. A cunning ploy, Baldrick. They've stayed out. 354 for 9. There's Paterson. Bowling to Van der Houten. And again, he's run it away on the offside and doesn't take the single. So now what are they going to do? Do they...
Surely they'll come in for the last ball.
Do they feel there's some sort of... I don't know. His left arm spin bowling, the kryptonite of Tim Van der Houten. Doesn't he want to face it? He's faced plenty of deliveries from... well, a handful of deliveries from Liam Paterson-White in the last couple of overs. They've had a chat.
I don't know what's going off out there.
No. Oh.
Last ball of the over and the field is spread far and wide.
Yep, you don't often see this. We've got one man on 56 on the strike, one man on 0, and they're giving him a single. 354 for 9. Paterson to bowl a bouncer, and he's gone on the pull and doesn't get anything on it as it goes through to Moores, who can't take it cleanly. Might have got it on the finger end. So that is the end of the over. That's maybe why they knew they weren't... they didn't need to bring them in. He was going to bowl a bouncer for the last ball anyway. 354 for 9. So now Liam Paterson-White will bowl the penultimate over of the day to Tim Van der Houten. If a wicket goes down, that'll be the end of the day. Otherwise we'll have 12 deliveries left, with Glamorgan leading by 52. Again, another reminder, if you're watching on the stream, if you just leave your picture on, and as soon as possible at the close of play, Aaron will bring you whatever interviews he can get from the boundary edge. And tomorrow, delighted to say, our twosome will become a threesome. Liam Paterson-White going to bowl to Michael Hogan here, who pushes down the ground, doesn't get a single. Chris Guest, the head coach of Loughborough Lightning women's team, is going to join us tomorrow. Just to, well, principally to give my voice a bit of a rest, but now it'll give us a real odd insight into the game, I'm sure. Next one pushed back to Liam Paterson-White. Looking forward to having Chris with us tomorrow. Final ball of the 100th over. Paterson-White bowls again, and Hogan backs away trying to cut it, misses it. 3 balls left. Looks very much as if, well, 3 balls in this over and 1 more over, but looks very much as if they're going to start again tomorrow. Off in pursuit of 400. Next ball, quicker one. Straight through to Moores. Just got that couple of inches a tighter line. Might well have mopped Hogan up. Still looking for his first run, Michael Hogan. Plays this nicely. Back to the bowler, whose work is nearly done. 100 overs will have been completed in the innings after this next delivery. So there are 10 overs left in which Glamorgan can get another batting point. Hogan keeps it out. So back-to-back maidens. 354 for 9. Glamorgan still lead by 52 with 1 over left.
Gareth Lewis on Twitter says how lovely to see tail-enders playing such intelligent cricket, a thoroughly absorbing game so far. Steve West says Glamorgan have often been desperate for the tail to wag, but he says the partnership for the 9th wicket. Could be a game changer. Well, thank you for your thoughts through the course of the day, one and all. And we look forward to contributions through Saturday and Sunday as well.
Yep, echo that. Thanks very much. Also, I shouldn't give a big shout out to the camera crew out and about on the ground, bringing you all the pictures, and to Kirsty and Aram that pop this all together on the live stream. Hope you've enjoyed the coverage today, and we'll do it again tomorrow as Paterson comes in, bowls nice and full delivery to Van der Houten, who defends. 1 down, 5 to go in the day, with Glamorgan having seized the initiative here up until this 9th wicket partnership, or the 9th wicket partnership. The day was following a very similar path to yesterday's, but the 9th wicket pairing putting 100 on has brought Glamorgan up not only level but beyond knots, and now into a sizable lead. Nottinghamshire will need their openers to put a bit of a stand on. This is pushed back by the bowler to James Paterson. Not entirely sure when we emerge from the depths of winter through a miserable spring into a nice lovely summer's evening, but we seem to have done. And lovely overhead conditions still. We're going to have, I would imagine, a lot gloomier weather to be playing a cricket in over the next, well, however many weeks and what have you. Very nice conditions here as Van der Houten ducks underneath this one. Pattinson's 26th over of the innings. He bowled 3 of them last night, so he's put a shift in today. 23 overs. His figure's 1 for 105. Mentioned at the start of the day, all the talk was about Joe Root and leaving the England captaincy and put your names forward. And I didn't mention in dispatches. I mentioned Ben Duckett. I think he's a high quality player, worth a place, could nail down that number 3 slot, and a good cricket brain. And it's Duckett, it seems, been Duckett offering suggestions to the bowlers and to Stephen Mullaney regularly. This one's poor delivery from Paterson down the leg side. He was talking to both the bowler and the skipper, and he is again now. Look, just coming up with the suggestions, the ideas, the thoughts. What can we do? Going on a bit of a walk. I think his other problem is he's got the ball at slip and he's got nobody to throw it to. He's waiting to get the attention of James Paterson, who's walked back to his mark before deciding he needs a cricket ball to bowl the next delivery. 2 balls left. Now's probably as good a time as any to polish off the innings. Saves having to go out and do it again in the morning. 2 balls left. Went round the wicket. It's gone back over. Paterson. Oh, crikey. This one's, I think it's slipped. Went through past the batsman on the full down the leg side. Well taken by Tom Moores. So last ball of the day, 3 wickets to Joey Everson. Maybe the ball of the day was the one that Dane Paterson bowled Sam Northeast for 85. Notts made 302 yesterday. Glamorgan have gone past them. They're 354 for 9. Last ball of the day incoming just before 5 to 7. Paterson to Van der Houten bowls, and it's gone through to Tom Moores, and that is that. Glamorgan will resume tomorrow. A really good day for Glamorgan. Nottinghamshire found it hard to get by, to get through the wickets. At stages they maybe would have even settled for getting 9 down through the day, but having got Glamorgan into a position of 248 for 8 when North East was out, they were then frustrated by that century partnership by James Whale and Tim Van der Houten. Whale out just before the close, but Van der Houten's there, and he'll be looking to add tomorrow morning. 354 for 9. From me, I think we've just about used up all the words. Very engaging, very engrossing, cricket. Very much enjoyed it, enjoyed your company, and the last word to Nick.
No star. Good night. Thank you very much indeed. Glamorgan noses in front. We'll be back for day 3.
Thanks very much, Nick. And a reminder, if you stick around, if you want to hear the post-match thoughts, Kevin Shine will be first up with Aaron Lord to give his thoughts on the day in just a moment. In fact, I can see him over there moving towards Aaron. Good warm applause for Van der Houten, who, well, he's still there to go again in the morning. Glamorgan lead by 52. Good night from Trent Bridge, where Glamorgan are 3:54 for 9.
So that is a close to day 2's proceedings here at Trent Bridge. I'm now joined by assistant coach Kevin Shine. You just said to me there, Shiney, one of the tougher days today. Just kind of sum up how you feel as obviously a coach, but also sort of what the lads will be feeling walking off there.
I know the lads will be feeling disappointed. We've had a fantastic year of 4-day cricket. And I think there were some really good patches in there, but there were other patches where we probably didn't quite meet the standards that we'd looked to set ourselves. At 248 for 8, you know, that was a very, very strong position. However, I always look at the commitment from the players, and that cannot be faulted. Every single one of those guys out there is committed fully. And the most important thing is we look at it carefully and we say, okay, where are the bits that we're going to look to improve on? And that's what I know this group will do, because they're very, very honest when it comes to reviewing their game.
Now, just for somebody that maybe is new to the game and kind of, like you say, was in a strong position there, you know, had their mate down, and then they kind of see what might be classed as tail enders come in and score over 100 as a partnership. How much is that them as batters, you know, performing well against us potentially, like you just say, you know, potentially doing a little bit better in certain aspects? How can you kind of mix that ratio?
Tail enders are almost a thing of the past now.
I think they are, aren't they? Yeah.
Those guys have played very, very well there at the end. That was a really good partnership. So what you have to do in those times is really be calm, you know, careful, look at your plans. And I think we knew the plans, we just didn't quite execute there tonight. But as I said, I know this group, and I know they're going to be incredibly honest, and we'll learn from that. And as long as we do that, remember we've just won a game. You know, a game that, you know, was most people thought may have been fizzling out, and the guys found a way. There's still 2 days left in this game. It effectively becomes a 2-day game. We get that wicket quickly tomorrow, and then we bat, and then we learn from what's happened. So, you know, that's what we're going to be looking to do for the next 2 days.
For you personally as a coach, how do you find it up there in the dressing room on days like this? Are you a nervous person? Do you wish that you were even maybe out there still kind of like helping the lads? Or what can you do sort of in the lunch break and the tea break to just regroup maybe, or just give your opinion and see what the lads can do?
Well, that's what happens. They generally know. They know what they're trying to do. Now remember, they're not infallible. Professional sportsmen aren't infallible, even though they train to become like that. And here we expect very, very high standards of ourselves, and that's everyone, whether you're support staff or whether you're a player. So I'll look at my input into this. They'll obviously look at their input. We get together tomorrow morning and we work out, right, how we're going to take this game forward. We're making no excuse. It has been a tougher day than we would normally have expected, but the most important thing is how we take it forward.
And I think that's the main thing, isn't it? Really, kind of, I imagine you'll have a chat maybe tonight, or maybe even not, but kind of park today, come back in tomorrow morning with a positive attitude, and that kind of jump in the step and a bit of focus, but remain positive. Like you say, it's a 2-day game, isn't it? There's still a lot of cricket to be played.
Just remember, a lot of people will we'll concentrate on the negatives. I'm completely the other way around, and I'm really happy to have that argument with people. You know, I will look at what we've done really well, yeah, and if we could replay it again, what will we do differently? That's a much more positive way of looking at it. Yeah, there's in my eyes, there's no room for hair dryers and throwing cups and things like that. This is about making sure that when we get out there, we're totally professional, which we always are. Since I've been here now, this is my 3rd year, the professionalism of this whole team has been beyond question, and that will continue to be the case. It's one of our poorer days that we've had for a year or so, but that's because we've actually set ourselves some really, really high standards. The standards are still set high, just haven't quite reached those today.
Is that then really a bit of realism, isn't it? That it's not easy, is it, this game of cricket? 4-day cricket isn't an easy game to play, and you're going to have days that challenge us as a group, and today is one of those days, and it's about, like you said already, learning from it, taking the positives from it, and making sure that when you get the chance again, you put those positives into practice. Absolutely,
and Glamorgan have played well there today, they really have, and especially that last partnership, as we said, tail-enders are almost a thing of the past from when I used to play with proper tail-ender, and you know, we know that we've just got to get back on it, do our usual careful thing, which is plan again and go.
I just kind of want to give a mention, I don't want to single anybody out, but if you talk about the effort, and you've mentioned that commitment as well, if you take somebody like James Paterson, first home game here for 3 years, bowled 26 overs, he's only got 1 wicket in the basket sort of thing, but the effort, he could have had another 4 or 5, so shows you that those balls are in there, doesn't it, and those wickets are there, still in that pitch and can be taken.
Absolutely, he's bowled some of the fastest balls that I've seen at Trent Bridge, and once again the effort was unbelievable there for him to pretty much come off a plane on Sunday, prepare himself, and always wanted to play. There was never any notion in his head that he wasn't going to be playing, and I love that for the guy. I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know him for the last 2 or 3 days, and I think the most exciting cricket is definitely to come from him. But all the other guys, there was some really good stuff. Dame Paterson off the plane on Tuesday, came in and bowled 24 odd fantastically tight overs. Brett Hutton coming in and looking like that spell in the middle of the afternoon, looking like he could take a wicket with every ball. Joey Everson, 3 wickets there today. So I'm really, really excited about the good things that have gone on there. I will always go towards those, but we'll have a look at the other ones as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us. And just, there's lots to take, and there's lots of positives, and there's still 2 days, like you said as well. So I don't think it's about being doom and gloom, is it? It's about
definitely
being positive.
You will not see doom and gloom from me, and we'll be making sure those players come out ready to go tomorrow.
And do you know what, Shani? You're not going to see it from me either.
Good stuff.
All right. Okay. Cheers, mate. All right. Thank you very much. I'll take that from you. And I'll let you go and do some more media.
Cheers.
All right. Cheers, Shani. So Kevin Shine there, the assistant coach here at Nottinghamshire. So like you said, it has been a tough day for Notts. Glamorgan started the day trailing by 269, and they will take over 50 run lead in tomorrow for day 3. But like Mr. Shine said, there's still a lot of cricket to play, and there's still a lot to remain positive about. I hope you've enjoyed the coverage today. I hope you'll join us tomorrow as well, day 3. Let's see what it's got in store for us. But from everybody here at Trent Bridge Live, thank you very much for your company, and enjoy the rest of your evening.